Somewhere on Skull Island, Kong lives very quietly, takes a nap, enjoys the view, takes a bath, and no one bothers him. He even has this little girl named Gia as a friend, and she talks to him in sign language. But not everything is so nice in Kong's life. We find out that he actually lives locked up in one of Monarch's facilities, and scientists believe that if he escapes, he could be attacked by Godzilla. Though knowing the security of Monarch's facilities, we know he won't last long in there. That's why today on The Summarizer, Godzilla vs. Kong. Before the movie starts, we are told that we already know from the previous movies that Kong has grown up and they won't be able to contain him for too long, that there can't be two alpha titans, and that Godzilla and Kong were ancient enemies. Now we meet Bernie, a worker for an artificial intelligence company known as Apex Cybernetics. Apparently, Bernie is a secret informant or something and manages to hack some data about a mysterious shipment to Hong Kong. After hearing the sirens and seeing that the Apex facilities have these like nuclear towers, we know that something bad is going to happen, and an evacuation of the place begins because Godzilla is supposedly approaching. Bernie manages to infiltrate inside some secret offices, and while Godzilla destroys absolutely everything, he discovers this strange thing, which we assume will be important for the rest of the movie. Airplanes appear, but clearly they learn nothing from previous movies and fly too close to Godzilla, who continues to destroy all the Apex facilities for no reason. After the attacks, we learn that Godzilla has been missing for 3 years, but with his surprising return, this Apex organization promises to have something to stop him. Meanwhile, in some school in America, we learn that 11 is still named Madison. Conveniently, she's still alive, and she keeps listening to a podcast that talks about titans from our friend Bernie the informant. 11's father is also alive, but don't get too excited because he's going to do absolutely nothing in the entire movie. Absolutely nothing. From the recent attacks, everyone thinks Godzilla is now evil, but 11 thinks something else is going on, and that Apex is at the center of the problem. Now we meet Dr. Lind, who apparently wrote some books about the Hollow Earth, and these Apex guys named Walter Simmons and Ren Serizawa go to visit him in his office, who I guess must be the son of the legendary Dr. Serizawa.
Godzilla. Readings from Godzilla.
Yes, he's clearly his son. Serizawa Jr. shows him some holograms about the Hollow Earth, where supposedly there's a complete ecosystem that was never discovered, where they want to enter because there's enough energy to fight Godzilla. They tell us that Dr. Lind's brother died in an excursion to Antarctica when they were trying to enter the Hollow Earth, but the Earth's gravity reversed for a second, or something like that, and crushed them all in an instant. But this doesn't matter. The important thing is that in Apex, they developed a vehicle to be able to travel to the Hollow Earth, but they need him to lead the mission. Dr. Lind says, yes, of course, but I need someone else to help me first. And now they go to the facility where Kong is to talk to Eileen Andrews, a former colleague in charge of controlling Kong. The idea is to get the primate out of confinement so that he can lead them to the Hollow Earth. But the only problem is that if they get him out of there, Godzilla will come after him. At first she says, no, are you crazy? You're gonna take Kong when the aggressive Godzilla is looking for him, and you're gonna take him through the ocean, which is where Godzilla is hiding?
Are you stupid or something?
But then, I don't know why, she says yes.
Okay.
Yes, alright.
Though the girl is sad, they take Kong on a ship, on a journey of several days over the ocean, the habitat of Godzilla, who's also looking for him. This idea is not going to work. On the journey, we meet this woman named Maya Simmons. The daughter of the leader of Apex is not very smart, but she still realizes how ridiculous the idea is, and wonders what we all are thinking.
Who's the idiot who came up with this idea?
By this time in the journey, Kong is completely wet, and there are still 48 hours left to reach Antarctica to guide them to the power source in the Hollow Earth. During the trip, we discover that Kong and Gia can communicate, and Kong tells her what we all assumed, that he is angry and sad. Meanwhile, in the city, Madison teams up with her friend Josh to track down the informant recording the Titans podcast. While no one knew the person behind the podcast, Madison and her useless friend easily find him in Chinatown. There, Bernie tells them that while infiltrating Apex, he discovered that they're going to make a very strange shipment to Hong Kong, and that he could also see some very suspicious technology.
We're breaking into Apex.
Wait, what?
You heard her?
The girl is a native of Skull Island that Kong protected when her relatives died, but that doesn't matter much because some alarms start to be heard on the ship, and we can tell from the girl's face that something is wrong.
What'd you say? Godzilla.
Run, bitch! Run!
Godzilla appears, destroying everything as usual, and turns over the ship where all our main characters were. After a brief fight, Kong manages to get away from Godzilla and turns the ship around again, so everyone inside survives without drowning. Godzilla finally seems to get away, but Kong goes to look for him again, throws an airplane at him, and then they start fighting on top of an aircraft carrier. With the help of the planes, he manages to control Godzilla, but he releases an atomic breath. Godzilla is about to drown Kong, but with the help of an explosion of army bombs, he is able to escape. When Godzilla gets away, they turn off the engines of the ships that were making noise to make Godzilla think he won.
Who's the idiot who came up with this idea?
But to everyone's surprise, and as the movie still has 1 hour left, the idea works and Godzilla leaves. Madison, Bernie, and Josh, the team that we'll call Team Stranger Things from now on, infiltrate the Apex facility and discover that the thing Bernie had seen is no longer there and someone took it with them. They also find a basement where there are still people working, and there are like some skull crawler eggs from the Kong and the Skull Island movie. The capsule starts moving, and apparently they are sent straight towards Hong Kong through these hollow earth tunnels, I guess. Meanwhile, now the Kong team comes up with the idea of sending it to Antarctica, but by a vehicle that Godzilla can't reach, and they fly to the Monarch base. The idea of using air instead of water would have been ideal to avoid the boat, but we wouldn't have had the epic monsters fight, which is what we all want to see when we watch a giant monsters movie. Once there, the girl tells Kong to go into the tunnels, but Kong doesn't want to, so they decide to lie by telling him that his family might be inside. And you probably think that having lied to a giant monster like Kong is going to bring serious consequences, but spoiler, nothing happens. The issue is never brought up again. After a rather strange trip, they end up showing up in what appears to be the center of Hollow Earth, a strange jungle with land in the sky and some pretty weird flying creatures which start attacking Kong. After killing these creatures, Kong and the 2 ships with the humans head to a place with floating asteroids, where they believe the energy center may be. They enter a kind of house under a mountain, which appears to be Kong's home.
His home.
But while all this is going on, Team Stranger Things, whose plot no one cares much about, arrives to Hong Kong. They enter what appears to be a test room, and the reason Godzilla attacked the Apex facility appears.
That's Mechagodzilla.
Serizawa Jr. now is driving the Mecha Godzilla and performing a test against one of these animals. But although he manages to kill it easily, he still does not have enough energy.
Once the whole Earth sample is uploaded,
our power troubles will be over.
Meanwhile, Madison's father, who we don't quite know what he's doing, discovers that Godzilla is heading to Hong Kong. And that's it, he does nothing else. Absolutely nothing. In Hong Kong, the Stranger Things team finds the skull of the 3-headed monster of Godzilla, King of the Monsters, named Ghidorah.
What?
Ghidorah.
Apparently, Apex used Ghidorah's DNA to create a computer to control the Mechagodzilla. While all this is going on, we are shown that outside, Godzilla has already arrived to Hong Kong, so Kong has to charge the axe to go upstairs to fight. Maya decides to take a sample of the energy from the floor, but I don't quite know why the scientist gets mad and wants to stop them. I guess because they can't just steal a piece of floor from Kong's house, just like that. But the Apex guys have guns, so Maya steals the piece of foreign material and sends it to her dad for analysis. The bad guys get away with the samples, and Kong's whole house starts to fall apart because Godzilla, already in Hong Kong, found out about all this going on and made a hole in the ground that reached all the way to the center of the earth. The bad guys try to escape through the hole Godzilla made, but the ones who do manage to escape through the hole are Kong, the ship with the girl, Eileen, and Dr. Lind, to head to Hong Kong. When Kong finally makes it to the surface, what we all want to see when we go to watch a giant monsters movie happens. The final fight between giant monsters as they destroy an entire city full of colored lights. While the fight happens, the 3 survivors manage to get out of the hole in the middle of the destroyed city. But let's get back to what matters.
Looks like round 2 goes to Kong.
In the meantime, Team Stranger Things was captured by the leader of Apex, but nothing else happens, so we continue to the fight. Godzilla finally wins, but decides not to kill him. I guess just proving that he is the alpha was enough. So Kong sadly accepts it and is left lying in the middle of the destroyed city. Meanwhile, in Serizawa's gamer setup, everyone prepares to power up the Mechagodzilla. They manage to charge it with the energy obtained from Kong's house, but something goes wrong and the pilot disconnects.
Oh shit.
Now, Mechagodzilla is driving himself, I guess driven by Ghidorah's mind or something, and the final battle between the two Godzillas begins. While all this is going on, the Stranger Things group is trying to crack the password to a satellite, with which they can supposedly shut down the Mechagodzilla. And the girl realizes that Kong is dying, so to save him, they need to give him a giant electric shock. Luckily, they have the Apex ship, and Dr. Lind uses the energy to revive him. Kong is now more alive than ever, and the best protagonist of the movie, by far, tells him, "Kong, Godzilla is not the enemy. I know the movie is called Godzilla vs. Kong, but it's a mistyping. The enemy is Mechagodzilla." So there, Kong recovers and goes to fight the giant robot, because during the last 5 minutes of the movie, the Mechagodzilla was about to kill the original one. But when he's about to kill him, finally, Kong is about to die at the hands of Mechagodzilla, but the Team Stranger Things makes a short circuit and allow Kong to finally end this. After all this, Madison is back with her father, who no one knows what he was doing during the whole movie.
No idea.
Actually, we know. Absolutely nothing. And the other three survive happily ever after, because again the two titans rise, but this time they don't fight. Godzilla returns to the ocean, and Kong to the hollow earth, where he lives free and happy,